The Israeli regime is planning to confiscate a vast swath of Palestinian land in the occupied West Bank. According to Palestinian sources, Tel Aviv intends to seize some 1,000 square kilometers of Palestinian territories from Al-Quds all the way to the Dead Sea. The Israeli regime plans to construct a large park for its citizens in what's being viewed as its largest expansionist program. If implemented, the project can change the geographical and political structure of the region and will also eliminate the possibility of establishing an independent Palestinian state in the future. Professor of Political Science at Birzeit University, Saad Nimr, is joining us now from Ramallah. Professor Nimr, welcome to the program. First of all, give us your perspective on this recent announcement by the Israeli regime to confiscate more Palestinian land.
Good morning to you and to all your viewers. What we are witnessing in the last period, that this government and the settlers movement in general, they are still under the impression that the period of the administration, American administration of Trump, is still going on, since this new administration didn't even interfere in the area or try to focus on the issue in the area. So they have this impression that things are still going on as promised by Trump, that settlers are allowed to take land in the West Bank. So what's going on now? They are trying to confiscate around 1 million dunams, which coming from the north of Beit Lahem, Jerusalem and Ramallah to the Dead Sea. All this area, which we consider the desert of the West Bank, will be confiscated for a project. They call it, natural reserve. But we know exactly what does it mean, natural reserve, because most of the cases they will be turned to the settlers to enlarge the settlements and to build the new settlements in that area. It means confiscating a huge part of the Jordan Valley and of the Dead Sea, where it's supposed to be for the Palestinians, according to Oslo Agreement in the plan of the two-state solution. But this is, definitely is not going to help in having and ending the idea of two-state solution. And as we said so many times on your even station, that it's a two-state illusion, because the Israelis are on the ground making it impossible even to think about the two-state separation solution and the separation between the communities, especially that the settlers now are around 800,000, and the plan is by the year 2025 to have 1 million settler in the West Bank. In such case, that is absolutely impossible to think even of the two-state solution.
Professor Nim, what about the international silence in response to the day-to-day Israeli violations that are being carried out against Palestinians?
But the Israelis, they don't care at all about the international community. And notice that they announced this project and other projects for settlements immediately after the declaration that Biden is coming to Israel and to Palestine. Sorry. So they know that they couldn't do anything to them. And at the same time, the rest of the international community, we noticed how the double standard and the hypocrisy that there is. The European Union, for instance, they said that we are against such projects, and that will stop the efforts for the peace process, where there is no peace process in the first place. Plus, they don't take any action to deter Israel from these kind of actions. To the contrary, they are just condemning or projecting or try to say that we don't like these kind of actions, but in the real terms they don't do anything, because the Americans are backing the Israelis, and the European, they don't want to offend the Americans by taking any action. Everyone knows that what the Israelis are doing and the atrocities it's committed against the Palestinians, the violation to the international law and to the human rights laws, but yet no one is taking any action against this kind of state. Because of the American position. To the contrary, they just condemn and they just, protest against Israel, but that won't, make any effect because the Israelis, they don't care about this international community as far as the American is siding beside them. And it's quite clear that the American, even in the last human rights report coming out of the United Nations, the comments of the United Nations, of the United States was against this report, and they say that it is besiding the Palestinians and supporting the Palestinians. So they even try to even protect the Israelis, even if there is an international report regarding what's going on in the Palestinian territory. So the international community is absolutely silent, but at the same time, they dare to take actions against other countries and to take actions against anything else in the world, as what happened in the Russia-Ukrainian problem, or put sanctions against Iran, but at the same time they are not willing to do anything regarding the atrocities and the violations of Israel.
Thanks a lot, Professor Saad Nimr, joining us from Ramallah.